You may remember a reporter for CNN by the name of Peter Arnett reported to us for years and years. You can see him on television reporting generally from some difficult part of the world. For a time he was stationed in the Middle East, and he tells this story, a true story, that I think underscores the validity of at least this idea. He talks about how there was a bombing one day there in Jerusalem, somewhere there, and the bombing was a horrific kind of moment. A car exploded, and there's just carnage everywhere in the streets. Buildings are falling down. People are injured, badly injured. And he talks about an unusual moment where a man comes running up to him carrying a small girl who obviously is critically injured. And the man comes running up to this reporter from CNN who has all the press credentials around him, and the man says, "Will you take us to the hospital?" Well, Peter, is the one to report on this, not to really get involved in it. He said, "What do you mean?" The guy said, "Can you take us to the hospital? It's going to be too long to wait for the ambulances. You have credentials. You can get through the roadblocks. Would you take us to the hospital?" And it was such a compelling moment that Peter Arnett said, "Yes." And they got in his car, and he's driving, and they're in the back seat, and they're going through the streets. And as they're going through the streets, he gets through the roadblocks, and they're making progress. But the man in the back seat says, hurry up, she's dying." And he drives faster and faster, and they arrive at the hospital, and there the double doors open, and the people in the white coats come out and grab her. And now Peter Arnett and this complete stranger are sitting alone in the waiting room. You been there? It's a quiet and lonely place. And they're sitting in the waiting room just waiting. They don't know what's going to happen. And after a while, after what seemed like a long while, the doors open, and a doctor in a white coat walks out, and they knew before he said anything that she had died. And Peter talks about how he wrestled with what to say. What do you say? We've all been there trying to put those words together that somehow relate to that particular moment. What do you say? He looked over at the man and, in probably a sense of awkwardness, said, "Mister, I'm really sorry. I don't know what to say. I've never lost a daughter." The man looked back at him and said, "Mister, she wasn't my daughter." And he said, "What?" He said, "She wasn't my daughter. I'm an Israeli settler, and she's a Palestinian girl." But he said, at some time, at some place, we have to realize we are all one.